Hello, Smite fans. Welcome to episode 9 of the Gank Right Lane podcast. Today we're talking about week 2 of the SPL season. We're going to be predicting week 3, and we're going to be talking about the 10.4 bonus update. How are you doing today, John?
Right. Doing good, man. Got some. Took a run to the grocery store. Got some food in me. Now we're ready to talk about Smite. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right. All I will say, I do want to punch you right now because in the countdown for this, you did the weirdest fucking cadence of all time. You were speeding up and
Yeah,
slowing down, and you started at 12, and I was like, this motherfucker.
yeah. I was kind of singing a song in my
Yeah,
head, but we got there, didn't we?
we did.
You figured it out after I
Not
say
only
2.
that,
You
but you
said
did like the most important numbers like really fast.
which ones
Because
are important.
for me and John are the only ones who know this, but the recording starts like a little bit before you push recording. So what we
Oh,
do is we don't say 1. So John went 4, 3, 2. I was like, Jesus, John.
sorry, I didn't give you a lot of time there. I mean, you got the idea, right? We
Yeah,
got
I
there,
got there.
and that's what matters. At the end of the day, we reached our goal.
Yep. Pushing
I feel
start
like
recording.
I should have led into a sponsorship somehow, but we're
Our
not. If
goal is
okay,
sponsored by Clash of Clans.
can you say that?
No, we are not sponsored by
Uh,
Clash of Clans.
okay,
That was
but
a joke.
go play Clash of Clans. This is like free sponsorship. If you were to be
I've never
sponsored by
played it.
one
It's just the first thing I could think of.
one thing, what would it be? Just
Um,
anything.
the Ticketmaster one because some of those people get like free tickets to shit, and that'd be cool as fuck.
Oh, okay, that's smart. I was thinking like Chef Boyardee, getting a big tattoo
The
across my chest.
ravioli monster. He's
Ah!
making his way onto the pod.
Yeah, that'd be a bad idea. We don't need Ravioli John coming onto this. Get some really bad takes going there. Oh, okay. So last week or the week before, how many matches you watched? 0? Did
I watched.
you watch any this week?
I watched. I think one.
1. Which one was it?
Uh,
Oh,
Warriors
you were messaging
Ferryman.
me. Yeah.
I feel like I watched another one that I just don't fucking remember, but I don't remember it, so we're just gonna stick with one.
Wait, you watched? Okay, yeah, I see it. Oh yeah, that was when you messaged me about Hannah Tom Big On. I don't remember.
Yeah. Just the Warriors in general.
Yeah, they're good.
They stole Fire Giant. I was like, oh, they win now. They have the
Dude, that
momentum. They
was
were not going to drop it.
okay. I mean, I guess we're on that. So let's talk about that one. Yeah, they win the set right there. That was game 3,
Yeah.
I believe. Um, the Ferrymen just kind of had everything rolling in their favor, and then SOT on I think it was Guan, right? Let me look. Yeah, he was playing Guan. Walked up and like 2'd, which is his dash. Fire to steal it. It was like a 1v5, man. How do you even let that happen? That's our luck right there.
Yeah.
That
They
looks
sure
like
do that
us
a lot.
trying to pull a fire.
What was it a couple days ago? We were doing Fire, and then I don't even remember what stole it.
There was like everyone was dead on their team. I think a minion came up and whacked it or something, but
Honestly, that sounds about right at this point.
there was like one person. It was the support, I'm guessing.
Yeah,
Came up
probably.
and just stole it from us, man. Yeah, we're really bad at that, but
Doesn't help that none of us play gods that are good at securing it most of the time.
yeah, except for Reed, who can't.
Yeah.
He hasn't figured that part out yet.
Mm.
Oh, one thing I have been seeing a lot, but yeah. Anyway, Oni they came back and ended up just running it down after that. Wasn't even close, but so this one.
Also, game one, our order went Apuck, and
Oh yeah,
it
yeah.
went bad.
How can you forget about that?
The game went like what, 20 minutes?
21 minutes and 56 seconds. I think that was the fastest game
Ever.
this year, maybe. I don't know. But yeah, he went puck support, which I can see what he's trying to do. He's playing against a Hell and against a Guan, and so that's a lot of healing right there, which puck shuts that down. But you have no CC immunity in your kit, and you're going into a Fenrir who can eat you. Didn't go beads. He didn't even have time to buy a second relic. He did not hit level 12.
Yeah.
Which is ridiculous. I would like to see what level he is, because I don't know. But yeah, he went 0-9. Single-handedly lost in the game. That was rough. I think the Ferryman, won game 2. They were really close. Besides that Fire Giant, really close game 3. So if they have another chance, I think the Ferryman could have won that set, but they kind of tossed it.
Yeah. And it's been basically, like, other than against the Gladiators, been their best chance to win a set so far this split.
Right.
And they beat the Glads.
Sending me back to this. Who else did they play? They played the Ravens. They got 2-0'd. That was rough. Yeah, Ferrymen aren't looking good. Same thing.
Largely down to Sino.
Yeah. You just don't have a jungle, man. He's played 3 picks all year long. Nike's, Surtur, and Nazah. He has one Nazah game, and I think they just lost.
I feel like playing Surtur jungle is insanity.
I mean, he honestly
doesn't do any of the jungle things.
He gets a lot of pressure early, and I mean, I think on a team like the Ferrymen, you have Cyclone and Paul, who are both like high damaging. You can count on them to get their damage out. And so he plays more of like a setup. Especially Baskin sometimes is a little bit more damaging. More of these bruiser instead of support solo picks. If that makes sense. And so like I can see like what he's trying to do, but that's just not
I
like
don't
meta.
think it works at this level of play.
No, it's not.
Like,
It's not.
If you look at every other jungle pick that does well in the SPL, Surtur doesn't do like any of the same things.
Yeah, he went 1-9 in the entire set against the Ravens. And then
2-6 against the Warriors.
Total?
Yeah, across all 3 games.
Wow. Yeah, and that like
he had the least number of fantasy points. You can count the number of fantasy points he had on one hand.
Which is, I mean, for context.
No, sorry, not on one hand, on both hands.
2 hands, 2 hands
yeah.
With your fingers, though.
Yeah.
Not your toes.
You don't even need to bring up the toes.
No, well, good thing because I only got 8 of those. But
what?
But for context, most people average like 50. I think 50 is the average.
Yeah. I thought you were gonna say most people average 10 toes.
No, surely not, right? What is okay? I have to look that up. What's the average amount of toes?
Are you kidding me right now?
I mean, tell me you're not curious.
I mean, probably 10.
Okay, but you can't say the average is 10 because people lose toes.
Right, some people are born with extra.
Yeah, but that surely can't be this. It can't be the same rate, right? Because anyone can lose a toe. Not.
You're probably right. I'm not that curious though. 10-ish.
Okay.
Yeah. It probably rounds to 10.
Yeah, I would say it's close to 10, but maybe 9. I'm gonna go with 9. Anyway. Out of that. Warriors just look like themselves, though, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Other than the
doing
games they
everything.
lose, but
Right.
they just
Um,
they seem like a team that's gonna like to drop quite a few games, but not very many sets, which is the part that matters. So
right. They're getting the wins. Yeah. Don't they have the most like 3 game sets? Got 1, 2,
I think 3 is probably the
3.
most.
They've got 3 of them. Yeah. So all but one of their games, which is against the Hounds, Gladiators.
I can't find it.
So they look beatable. Yeah, it was against the Hounds. They 2-0'd the
Right.
Hounds.
They just have to do it twice.
Right. Which so far no one's been able to do.
Yeah.
But coming up this week, catch it here. Or I guess I'll save that. I'll save that once we get to there. Warriors are gonna have some good matchups though. One of them. What I mean, nothing really to say about Kings. Surprise.
They beat a team whose mid laner's playing on ping.
Yeah. The reigning world champs are still good.
Yeah.
Who's surprised?
It's one of those things where it's like the Kings are so good, like we don't even need to talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, I feel that way about the Kings and the Gladiators. There's not much to say.
Yeah. Also, I kind of want to go into the Leviathans game a tiny bit against the Gladiators.
Oh, well, I mean, there's stuff to talk about the Gladiators. There's obviously more to talk about. There's more to improve on, when you're bad than there is to improve on when you're good already.
Right. Yeah, no, it doesn't feel like there's anything to talk about the Kings.
2-0 the Leviathans and the Hounds.
They're really good. They could be even better if they replace Variety. They just won a championship. Why would they do that? Next.
Next.
Same talking points we've had for the past 4 months. Next.
Dragons, Ravens.
Yep.
That was so I've seen, I don't know, I was telling you about this. Dragons end up 2-1 the Ravens. And I had the Ravens above the Dragons this past week. I'll tell you right now, it's not going to be the same this week. But I have seen a lot of people saying these are like the 2 most closely matched teams. And they're still, they think the Ravens just like slipped. They think the Ravens are still better than the Dragons. What are your thoughts on that? Getting 2-1 in the team and then getting ranked below them.
Crazy. I mean,
yeah.
The Ravens haven't beat a good team yet. If you look at the actual kills to deaths over the entire set, it's not even that close. The Dragons 48-32 them.
Mm-hmm.
The Ravens had 2/3 of the amount of kills in the set. They made the games go a long time, but the Ravens are really good at that, so that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
Everybody was like, or maybe not everybody, but a lot of people were kind of saying last week felt like a bit of a fluke.
Yeah. I
still kind of feel like that's a bit true. I think they're good, but they haven't beat anybody good yet. So I think they're fine.
They're playing Kings and the Warriors this week, so we're gonna find out if they're good or not. That's got to be the hardest week you can have right there.
We're gonna find out if the Ravens are for real or not. They don't even have to beat them both. If they can beat one of them, it's like okay, like they're for real, and they haven't just shit stomped the easy teams.
Exactly. I would even take if they even get 2-1 by both of them. I'm saying they're not a top. I mean, they're not great. They're not a top team, but they're not bad.
Right. Well, I keep saying this. The problem with the Ravens is that they feel like a team that's going to be really good at beating the teams worse than them, but they're not going to really have a real chance against the teams better than them.
Right.
Right. Scream does his best, by quite a bit, when he's better than his opponents.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's easier to be a carry when you're better than your opponents, so that's going to help Barracuda.
Yeah. That And I kind of take back what I said about if it's 2-1 because this set against the Dragons was 2-1 and the Ravens looked not really good throughout this. They got one game. I mean, the entire set they were trailing. Like they were behind. Yeah, the game they won, they were behind 10,000 gold. They were behind 20,000 gold game 2. 10,000 gold game 3. Just like after about 10 minutes, you would kind of get the pace and get the tempo that was going, and you're like, wow, the Ravens have zero momentum. They have nothing going for them. And it was just they got one lucky team fight, game 1 under tower, and lost that. And won. They won that under their Phoenix, then pushed up and won the game. And then they should have done that game 3, and they choked. They were at the Titan, and they choked it.
Right.
So I think it was more of a Dragons have problems sieging in just the Ravens, I guess, being able to.
Well, I mean, it took the Warriors forever to siege the Ravens as well, and they might be the best team in the league. Right. I think it's the Ravens are really good at either thriving or surviving, but nowhere in between. They can cling on to life for 30 minutes, or they can shit stomp you. But if the game is close, they're going to start to fall off and get further behind until they're in the surviving mode.
Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely what it looked like. They were struggling to survive for all these games. And so that kind of had me thinking, oh, this doesn't look... I mean, it wasn't looking good. But then they came back. They 2-0'd the Ferrymen, who, I mean, took a game off the Warriors, but so far almost everyone's been able to do that.
Right.
But it's still, I mean, Ravens, they, I think, got lucky with their, what is it, the Order and Chaos with their division. Right. Because it's the Kings, the Ravens, Ferrymen, and Hounds.
Yeah.
So,
they've already beaten the Hounds. I could totally see the Hounds taking a game off this team.
I can see them taking a game. I don't think they'll ever take a set off the Ravens.
I meant a set, honestly.
I don't.
They took they've already taken a game off of them.
There was one team fight. Yeah, that was week 1. That was off of one team fight though. It was like a 4v5. The Hounds just absolutely jumped them and then ran it up and killed the Titan. So I don't think there's a lot to see off that. I guess just better positioning.
Yeah. I just feel it in my bones.
I mean, I think that would be a good one. We haven't seen the Hounds really do much else this year.
Yeah.
So far, but I'm sure
beat up the Jobber team.
Yeah. RIP. Yeah, I think they're all new, or most of them. They're all fresh this year. So it'll take a while for them to pick up, but I think they can. They'll pick up and they'll be fine. I don't think they're going to be a last place team ever. Considering the Glads coming up on our next level, I think Glads can.
Look, yeah, I just wanted to bring up in this game real quick. Shinto still not on land, and he went 3-3-12 in one game, and 5-0-12 in the other.
Yeah. If you,
I'm sorry, Snoopy, you're not good enough to play in the league.
I mean, yeah, every other team's been able to capitalize off of it, and the Glads just couldn't. I don't know what they have so many. There's so many problems, little problems, but it adds up fast, Kiri needs help. He looks like the only good player on that team right now. There were games he would win team fights like by himself on the Vamana, kill 2 or 3 people, and then they just couldn't get anything off of it. You know, I think it was against the Leviathans they were grabbing fire giants. Maybe not. Maybe that was against the Hounds.
Yeah, I don't know, but what I do know is that if your lane opponent is playing on 300 ping and across 2 games, you go 1-9, you get out.
Yeah.
Just get out.
Yeah, I think they definitely have a similar problem like the Ferryman, where they got just one player who's
Scary D's
like
bad too, man.
really stinking it up. Scary T is rough. There's games where he looks good, and then people, I see people ride his dick for the next week about that one game.
Right.
And then, but every other game, he's just like, I think Kierme sat in solo lane against the Hounds, I believe, and he got him like a 3-level lead. Scary had a 3-level lead. He never rotated once until everyone was level 20. And so what's it matter if you have a 3-level lead? And your jungle's playing through you, He doesn't do anything with it. Yeah. Get rid of Snoopy. I think you could. Their tanks like Scary D and Inbound aren't performing very well.
Yeah. Honestly, I think they need to keep Kierme and Stewart and then just build an entirely new team. Because Stewart is clearly the second best player on this team, but he doesn't fit the play style of the rest of his team, but the rest of his team shit, so who cares?
Right. Well, I think what I was saying is like Inbound and Scary, you can work with that. I think, but I mean, your mid that's your centerpiece of your map.
Yeah.
I think that's why the Leviathans were struggling. I mean, and they're not even struggling. They are struggling, but that's why they're not doing as good as everyone thought. Because I mean, your centerpiece, that's where whenever you lose a mid tower, man. Have you been playing mid and then you lose your mid tower? It's like if I step up to the wave here, I'm gonna die.
Yeah.
There's no way to get out of it, and that just loses your whole team so much pressure. And you're already. I mean, it's not the same as losing a mid tower, but with someone not as good, that's just. It's not the, cinder block you need sitting in mid lane.
Right.
And what was it? Snoopy's like 5-30 or something in the past all this phase.
Probably.
Which is, I mean, there's supports are putting up better numbers than that. This is clearly the least performingest player.
He's 11-33.
11.
Yeah, I know, right?
Oh, well, that's impressive.
Gary D is 8-32.
Yeah, like that's.
Inbound is 4-36.
Yeah.
Inbound barely has worse stats than his solo and mid.
In mid. Yeah, man, this is just looking like I want to call it the Scarabs of years past, just because Inbound's on the team, Inbound and Stewart are. But I mean, the Scarabs in the years past were winning some games. They were putting up fights. This looks like the Valkyries of years past, where they're gonna get rolled every game.
Right.
And that. I mean, we talked about it before. There's not a deep roster of SPL players, and so we talked about, maybe reducing the amount of teams. Because at this point, it's just anyone who's going to play the Gladiators is getting a free win.
Yeah.
And that's not fun to watch. When I see a Glad's games coming up, I'm like, okay, I'm going to skip that one because I know who's going to win.
Yeah.
Holy cow. And the Gladiators play the Kings and the Warriors this weekend. Yikes. So those are definitely 2 games I'm skipping.
Can't wait for them to shut us up and beat the Kings.
I hope so.
Same. Not
But
because I don't like the Kings. I just want to see something out of the Glads.
right,
I mean, hey, they almost got a game off of them in the kickoff tournament.
almost they should have, but they didn't.
Yeah, they choked it.
Happens to the best of us.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, what are you doing to fix the Glads team?
I mean, if I can only make one change, I'm
Yeah.
changing Snoopy. I don't even know who
Right.
I bring in though, because there's not like a better mid.
Exactly.
Like maybe because of that, I replace Scary D with like Aquarius. Because Aquarius is probably good enough to be in the SPL. I don't know if there's any mids you could bring in to replace Snoopy that'd be good enough.
Right. But I mean, yeah, I at this point I'm trying other people out. You know,
Yeah.
we're going into practice games, into scrims,
Right.
and scrimming with a new mid laner, just trying things out because
Right.
unless what if Snoopy's having a bad month, maybe, and he's about to pop off. I hope, but he looks like he's a step behind. He looks like a platinum player playing with all these guys. Well, getting bullied.
I thought he had like 11 kills, right?
Yeah.
Okay, 6 of those kills were against the Hounds.
Yeah.
So I think that's probably where you saw like 5 and whatever from.
Okay,
He had
so
6 kills and 10 deaths.
before they played Hounds.
Yeah.
Still 10. That's crazy in 2 games at that level. I don't know. It's not crazy. It's just not good.
The
It's
last
impressive.
time he had a positive KD in the Pro League was season 4.
How are you putting anyone on your team like that? You know, that's he has played with like these bottom level teams like this, but
Right?
oh, I guess the money's worth it to get dunked on every single weekend.
Yeah.
He might not be making. I don't know. I need to find when they can start switching players.
On the
Those,
Athenian Sages in season 9, which it wasn't in the Pro League,
mhm.
he went 117, 136, and 267 as a carry. He didn't have a positive KD while not in the Pro League. And he's in
And
he's
so,
in the SPL right now.
tell me how he got a position.
Well, because I don't know. Because their team
Right?
wasn't playing. Nobody thought I mean, I think a couple people thought maybe the Glads would have a chance to make it in. Nobody thought they were going to beat the Wargs. The
Right.
Wargs fucking choked. And if they were in the Pro League, I don't know if they'd have a win yet, but they'd look a lot more competitive.
Yeah. It would. I think they'd be more like the Hounds, where it's like they might win, but probably not. But yeah, Gladiators is just like they're not. They're not gonna win. And I want to be proven wrong. I'm not wishing bad things on the Gladiators. You know, I don't like seeing them lose. I want them to win.
I want every game to be a close, competitive game that's exciting to watch.
Yeah.
Watching people get stomped isn't fun. But they're
I
not
actually want
good.
every game to go 50 minutes and have 100 kills per
See, I
game.
was going to say that. That is too long. I have shit to do.
That's ridiculous. But yeah, I mean, you can have competitive 2-0s, but there's a difference between a competitive 2-0 and a gladiator 2-0.
Right.
You know.
Yeah, the Kings versus Leviathans was a more competitive 2-0, and their mid isn't on land.
Yeah.
Kings
Well,
versus Leviathans was 30 kills to 21 kills over the set. Gladiators versus Leviathans, I clicked on the wrong thing. Gladiators versus Leviathans was 38 to 12.
yeah, they just don't know what they're doing, and when your damage, your mid, your burst damage isn't doing much, and then your carry isn't participating in team fights either
Yeah.
for a
Stewart's
majority.
not on the same page as the team,
Yeah.
and
How are you?
Snoopy isn't good enough.
Right. He's in his own world.
Yeah.
Oh. Well, I'm done shitting on the Gladiators. I don't know if you have anything else to say, but I'm starting to feel bad now.
Yeah, all right. So the next game, Kings Hounds. Let's see. Kings are really good. Not quite sure why they kept Variety. Probably because they won the championship next year. Moving on. Hounds Gladiators.
You say that like Variety isn't also. He's
Variety is definitely very good, but that's
Yeah.
that's the talking point that everybody's like. They're like, oh, they could have been even better if they replaced Variety. Variety's good. He fits the team really well. That's just the talking point. So I'm going through the list of talking points. All right, we talked about everything. Moving on.
Yeah, I would argue as well for him. They have the chemistry between them, and is that more important than having a more skilled player on your team?
If that player was fine okay, then I think you figure it out, and fine okay was available. But I think any other solo, I don't think I would have done it.
Right. That's fair. It hurts to see Fine OK performing how he is right now because he's doing fine. He's playing well.
He's doing fine. He's doing okay.
He's doing okay. His team's not, and that's not good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it hurts to watch. But whoa, Alex.
That was you, buddy.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, Kings are still good. Who's surprised? The battle of the worst. The battle over last place, Hounds Gladiators.
Yep.
Hounds 2-0.
Yep, wasn't really close.
Yeah, it was. It was all right, but it wasn't good by any means. Gladiators put up a fight game 2. Didn't game 1. Game 2 they did a little better, but nothing crazy going on there.
Yeah. One thing I don't think gets talked about enough, because we're talking about it for Kirmi on the Gladiators, Oaf is also really good. Jungle is 8 deep in the Pro League.
No.
Yes.
Who's number 8?
I forgot about Sino. Jungle is 7 deep in the Pro League.
Yeah. And that's why I talked about it when picking fantasy. It's like a jungle meta. Your jungle is going to be really important. And so I think that has to do somewhat with it. And it has swayed away from as big of a jungle meta as it was at the beginning of the season. But if your jungler can do things, your team's going to do well. And that's part of the reason why the Ferrymen are performing well, is because their jungle's not doing anything. And, and that's what's keeping the Gladiators and Hounds afloat. Yeah, Oath had a pop-off weekend. I think Quig also...
The Glads aren't afloat. It's what's keeping the Hounds afloat.
Yeah, Hounds are floating. He's... Kirmi has everyone on his back, man. He's trying.
Yeah, I know. No, the rest of the team is sinking Kirmi, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah,
it's kind of crazy that the only person Hunter got, shout out Hunter from the pod, from not the Hounds or Gladiators is Sino.
He is Barracuda.
I forgot he had Barracuda.
Yeah. Barracuda's the only one putting up decent points for him. Everyone else is in last place.
El Chuckles has been like fifth or something in terms of coach points.
Yeah, 5th and 6th.
Who we picked first overall.
Wild, by the way.
I literally told him to pick genetics, and he said El Chuckles, and I was like, all right. Honestly, genetics wouldn't have been that much better. He hasn't been putting up the fantasy points so far, but it would have been probably a bit better.
Yeah, it would have been it'd been a lot better. There's currently let me see, a 15-point differential between Genetics and El Chuckles. Barracuda's the top scorer. I forgot about him. El Chuckles is second. Yeah, he has the bottom 3 fantasy point people with Snoopy, Scary D, and Sino.
Oof.
That's a rough. He said he was picking random, and
He wasn't picking random. He was picking the people with the best names, which just so happen to be the worst players.
the worst people. Come on. I'm really surprised. Wait, oh no, he got left with Sino. I was gonna say I'm surprised he didn't pick Scream
I'm surprised Miller didn't pick Scream.
or Awesome Jake. Yeah, I have no idea how I got away with that
He
one.
almost ended up with Tall Stewart and Awesome Jake, which we could have just called Jake. He could have done it almost. That would have at least been funny.
Right. Miller's team would have been nuts as well with Scream instead of Cure Me.
Yeah, dude,
He's already
insane.
ahead. He's already ahead. If he had Scream instead of Cure Me, he would have an extra 60 points right now.
All right, we gotta move on. Nobody cares about our Smite fans.
All right. You want to jump into predictions for next week?
We haven't talked about Warriors Dragons yet.
Oh yeah.
Warriors beat the Dragons again.
Again.
So far between the kickoff tournament and the regular season, the Warriors are 5-1 against the Dragons in terms of games.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
The Dragons actually look really good against them though.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. These are all close games.
But yeah, I think
Pagon went negative on the set.
Pagon obviously did good this week, but he did not perform anything like he did last week.
Or in the kickoff.
Right. He's slowing down a little bit, which is to be expected because he was on fire. But still, playing very well.
Yeah. Awesome Jake is like the best support in the league now somehow.
He honestly just is.
Yeah, it's actually crazy how good he is this year. It's also one of the things, you can't really see it in the Dragons game, but I remember in the kickoff tournament, in every game, Awesome Jake was keeping up in items with the rest of his team, which is insane.
Yeah. At that point, that's your team is ahead kind of thing.
Yeah. Okay, against the Ferryman, he had the same number of items as Panatom at the end of the game in Game 3. He was only a Tier 1 behind Panatom and Pagon at the end of Game 2. It genuinely feels like in half of all of his games, he's able to keep up with items with the rest of his team as the support, which doesn't happen.
I mean, that's important because each item is going to make you a lot tankier at this level of play. Being able to tank an extra 2 abilities is the difference between winning a team fight and losing a team fight.
I don't know how he's been able to get so much farm as the support, but he's been doing it and it's been working.
Knows how to farm the map, and his team does as well.
I didn't realize this. The Warriors 17-0'd the Ferryman in Game 1. I didn't realize they shut him out. I knew they kicked their ass. I didn't realize they shut them out.
They could not do a thing, man. I think they had lost 2 Phoenixes 17 minutes or something.
Honestly crazy.
It was that game. That game won. I mean, there was nothing. That's one you just have to throw away and forget ever happened.
Yeah. And they did that pretty well. Ferryman are talented. Too bad they don't care.
Yeah, I think Dragons, their problem that I've been noticing, they don't do well around objectives or around sieging. And that's a big deal. A lot of teams have had problems sieging, but I mean, the Dragons consistently make it look very difficult, more difficult than it needs to be.
Yeah. Also, the Ravens held the Ferryman to 1 kill in that set in game 2 of it.
Yeah, that one hurt. That one hurt for the fantasy points, but
Now you have Paul and Cyclone Spin.
I know, man. Cyclone dropped it on that one. What? He started out so well in game 1, and then game 2 just fell through. Yeah, but I also have Haddix and Scream, so
Yeah,
got,
that's
got,
true.
got a lot of points there. What do you do?
Alrighty, should we do power rankings?
Yeah, let's go through those.
Alrighty.
So, yep, 1 through 8. Let me.
You want me to go first?
Yeah.
Or you want to go first?
Let me hear yours.
All right. So I have movement at the top of my power rankings this week. I have the Kings at number 1.
Good.
They have looked so dominant that even though the Warriors are still undefeated, I had to put the Kings up there. If just to say that I had the Kings team that shit stomped everybody at the top of my power ranking at some point in my life. You know, like it would be crazy if I could never say that. So
probably a good idea.
Yeah. I mean, I think I had him as 1 before the kickoff tournament, but still.
So
I needed to be able to say I had the Kings up at top at some point, and then when they inevitably end up losing to the Warriors again, the Warriors will go back on top. I'll give the Kings some credit because they've been so dominant so far.
So you have Kings number 1. They play this weekend. Oh, hello?
Hi.
There it is. They play the Gladiators and the Ravens. What are they? They going 2-1, 1-1, or 2-0, 1-1, or 1-0?
They're going 2-0.
Or 2-0-2. They're going 2-0? Okay. 2-0.
I gotta switch my thing over to air conditioning from heater because I'm fucking sweating my balls off.
Yeah, I think Kings are staying my number 1, man. They're going 2-0 this weekend. I think they could
switch it over to air conditioning. I needed to turn the heat down because I had it at 74.
Take your pants off, man.
I might have to.
That's what I'm here for, anyway. We could do a pantsless podcast sometime. We should do it every time, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the Kings could take a game off of the Ravens. Or the Ravens could take a game off the Kings.
They could, but that's not what I'm going to predict.
Right. I don't think that'll happen. So you got them 2-0. Okay. Yep. Your second, number 2.
Warriors.
Still
undefeated.
All right. And
don't
this
look
week,
quite as good as they did in the kickoff, but
they still look really
good.
They have the Ravens and the Gladiators. So the same as the Kings.
I notice they do that a lot.
Yeah, so each team, I think the Gladiators and the Ravens play the same people. The Kings and the Warriors play the same people. The Dragons and the Hounds play the same people, and that leaves the Ferrymen and the Leviathans to play the same people.
I have Warriors going 2-0 next week.
Okay. So here's my prediction for that. I think the Ravens are going to beat one of these top 2 teams. In spirit,
I agree with you, but in theory, I look at it and I go, I don't think they're going to beat the Warriors, and I don't think they're going to beat the Kings.
Exactly. That's like, who am I supposed to choose to beat? You know, it doesn't look very good.
Right.
But yeah, we'll get to. I also have going along with you. Once it starts to change, I won't do mine at the same time.
I do think they will 2-1 both series as well. By the way,
I'm gonna go. Warriors are gonna go 1-1 this week, and I'm still having them at number 2.
All right. At numero 3, I got the Dragons. A lot of people might not agree with that because they've only won 2 games and lost 2. but their 2 losses are against the 2 teams above them, and one of their wins is
Right.
against the other team that has more wins than them. So in terms of the power rankings, it would make sense for me to put them above the Ravens. They
This is
project
where
to
they're
finish
going.
better than them by the end of the year. So
Yeah, it's a good. I think that's smart. Yeah, you can't even if they were. I don't know. 1-3 might be a little far, but
right.
they
Well,
look
who
better
else would
than
they have lost to?
exactly. Yeah, if they
Who
lost
else
the
have they even
Ravens,
played?
uh, Ravens, Warriors, Kings, Lads.
Oh, they played the Glads. Yeah, so it would have been to the Ravens.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, if they did that, I would obviously put them under the
Right.
Ravens.
Put the Ravens above, but they just looked a lot better than the Ravens this weekend.
Yeah.
All right, they are playing the Leviathans. Who do you got there?
The Dragons are playing the Leviathans. I have Dragons.
And then they're playing the Ferrymen.
I have the Dragons.
Fair enough. So top 2 teams going 2-0 for you here. Top 3 teams.
Yeah. I haven't predicted any upsets yet.
Not yet.
Let me rethink this for a second. I'm assuming what's his name? Shinto's not gonna be back yet still?
No word on it. Mm-mm.
So probably not then. Okay. I will. Fuck it, they're going 2-0. There weren't any upsets this week. There's not going to be any next week.
Yeah, I think something's going to have to happen for there to start the Rita shake up right now at this point. I think the only thing we're really waiting on to kind of level out where these teams are ranked are between the Dragons and the Ravens. But after last week, it looks.
I'm actually going to change some of my power rankings on the fly. Because I just thought of a thing and I was like, oh, I don't agree with my thoughts from earlier anymore. I've
All right,
changed.
hit me with number 4.
Number 4 is the Ravens.
Ravens.
I think that there is a very clear top 4 until Shinto gets back.
And I'm guessing, yeah, I agree. I don't see any of the bottom teams beating these top teams for the most part.
Yeah. Other than like maybe an upset.
Yeah, but it would. I think it would have to be from the Leviathans and the Ferrymen. I don't think the Hounds or Gladiators can beat these top 4 teams. Personally,
I mean, I said it earlier, so I'll stick to my guns. I think the Hounds can take a game off the Ravens. Or a set off the Ravens. I think they could do it.
I think I could. I don't think they could. I don't know why I said that. I think the most they'll ever get as a game, at least for right now, this phase. The way things are looking, if Coast has been playing good, he hasn't been playing great. If he starts playing like he didn't play in tournaments or at Worlds last year, I think we can start to put them more in the picture.
Yeah. Well, here's my thing with it. We know Coast can win this team a game by himself. We know Oath can win this team a game by himself. Coast gets one, Oath gets the other.
There
I
we
could
go.
see him beating the Ravens or the Dragons.
Yeah, I think there's too many. Ducky plays weird picks, and Benny who plays weird picks, and between those two, you can really only stray so far from the meta before you're just not performing as well as other players are.
Right.
And I think that's what the meta is really not where they want it to be right now.
Yeah.
All right, number 5. Oh wait, so Ravens are 0-2. Kings Warriors, right? Okay. 15.
I got the Hounds.
I almost don't even want to write this down. That's insane.
I had him at 6 with the Leviathans at 5, and then I looked at Hounds Leviathans and I was like, are Leviathans gonna beat the Hounds with Shinto not on land? And then I said, no, I do not think they will, sir. And then I picked. I'm gonna pick the Hounds for that one.
Wow, that's some. I mean, I would have never guessed that. Um. Okay, so Hounds. Do you take Leviathan? So you think Leviathan or Hounds are taking the game against Leviathans
I do.
solely just because Shinto's not on ping?
That's a lot of it.
Yeah, definitely doesn't help. Um, and then Berryman Hounds.
I have the Hounds.
Really?
Dude, they're gonna get out jungled to fucking hell and back.
Yeah. You know, and I see that. But when it comes to a team fight, if things even up, I just don't see how Hounds are going to beat these guys in a team fight. I think you got your veteran carries.
Okay, here's the problem with what you just said. They 2-0'd them a month ago.
Right. And I see that. You know, looking back, yeah, I think regular season it's entirely different. You know, that was the first time
The Ferrymen still don't fucking care.
That was the first time they'd ever played together, though, as this team, as the Ferrymen. Their first match together. The Hounds had just played the entire tournament, had just shit on everyone in the entire tournament. You know, they had an entire month of playing as a team coming into that, you know, and I think that had a lot to do with it.
I mean, this team has mostly played together before. Paul and Aurora have played with both Cyclone Spin and Sino in the past. The only real new person here is Baskin.
Right, but then throwing all of it together, you know, into one pot. It changes things up because, you know, if you play, say they were playing around, you know, someone else, their solo lane or whatever. Now you bring a new solo in, you have to change things up. And still, there's, you know, even a really good basketball team or whatever, you give them, you put together 5 players who, you know, some of them played together before, maybe, but, you know, this whole group the group as a whole, their first game together against a team that's been playing together for months, you know? I think that has some sort of effect.
I mean, months is like a bit of a stretch. They played like 3 sets together.
With the practice, I think
the Ferryman had time to practice too.
You're right. Not as long, but you're right.
The teams in the league were announced before the play-in teams. If anything, they had more time to practice.
The play-in teams were announced before the rosters, weren't they?
No, the rosters were announced before the play-in teams.
Mm-hmm. Well,
because the teams applied to make it into the league. And I mean, I guess it's kind of the same time, right? Because all the teams applied to be in the league, and then they picked the best 6 and put them in the league, and then they picked the next, like, I think it was 8, and then put them in the play-in.
Play-ins. Okay. All I'm saying, the only point I'm trying to make here is they had more time to play. I think that had an effect. So you're giving Hounds 2-0.
I never said 2-0. Hold on now. Let me think about this.
No, I mean against the
just because I think you're so wrong about this, I will say 2-0.
No, what I'm saying is against. So you have the Hounds beating Leviathans and the Hounds beating the Ferrymen.
Oh yes, I think I had Hounds 2-0 in the set, which I now do, just to spite you.
That's fine. I think it's going to be Ferrymen 2-1. I don't think the Hounds are going to roll over, but I still don't think the Hounds are going to be able to beat any of the 6 teams above them.
Well, for me, they're not above them.
Right. Current standings, they won't be able to beat the 6 teams above them.
Yeah.
So number 6,
Leviathans,
Leviathans.
even without Shinto, or I guess with Shinto, but on land. Or not on land. I saw them above the ferryman.
I know what you meant. Okay.
This ferryman team, look, until they show me they care, I'm going to keep shitting on them.
That's fine. That's fair. I mean, I don't think it's not that they don't care. I think they are really struggling. I think
That's worse, in my opinion. Because
the
it was just they didn't care. They could flip it on at any time. If they're just bad, then they're
well,
bad.
I think the whole set against the Dragons or the Warriors with them was Alpuck support. Obviously, you got to be trolling a little bit to pick that. I think that was a not care moment, and they lost off that. But then, you're barely losing a set where you do that, and you have the worst jungler in the league, who is arguably the most important role on the team right now.
Yeah, I mean, if they had a real jungle, they'd be above the Hounds.
Right. Yeah, that would definitely happen. All right, so we have Leviathans, Hounds, Leviathans, Dragons. So you have Leviathans going 0-2 this week.
Yes.
Still sticking to it?
Yes.
So far, I don't know if this is... I guess it can't change now. You have no one going... Or wait, do the Gladiators and the Ferryman play? No.
Well, I'm looking for something here.
Where's the Gladiator second? Okay. I'm guessing you don't have the Glads over the Ferryman, though.
I do not. I have the Ferryman at 7.
And 7, going 0-2. And then the Glads.
Actually, at 8, I have the Valhalla Valkyries.
Oh my goodness. Are you looking up SEC teams?
Yep. At 9, I have the Callan Wardens. You probably don't even know who are on any of the teams that I just named, do you?
No, I mean, I think Panda Cat might be on one of them.
Yep, Panda Cat's on the Wardens. The
The
Valkyries are the
Valkyries would be
wards
like
from the play-ins.
Wowie. Yeah, Wowie, Sam, Gamma, Aquarius, Crimson.
I still can't believe that team's not in the SPL. That's crazy.
Yeah,
They
I think
fucking choked.
that team could beat the Glads right now. For sure.
I mean, if it was a regular season set and not a playoff set, they would have. They went 2-0 and then got reverse swept,
Yeah. Right, if it was just less games, which that was insane. That whole set was just crazy to watch. It was a lot of bad Smite. So I have my power rankings drawn up here. I think I'm definitely have a lot changed.
That's crazy.
I still got
no upsets happened.
No, a lot changed from yours. Mine is I have one change from last week.
So you moved the Ravens down 1.
Yeah. So I have the Kings going 2-0, the Warriors 1-1 to the Ravens. That's going to be my upset. I'm calling the Ravens. I think they're going to beat one of those teams, and I think they have a lot better chance against the Warriors than they do against the Kings. Dragons, who are they playing? Leviathans and the Ferrymen. I'm giving Dragons the 2-0 there. Then, so yeah, Ravens number 4. Number 5, that's where I'm putting Ferryman.
I don't see it.
Dropped it last. I think there's a definite top 4 and a definite bottom 4. I think they can be switched around. I think Yeah, I mean, you definitely can't switch around the Kings. I think they're definitely number one. The other three, so far, no one's proven the Warriors, so they're locked number 2. 3 and 4 are malleable. Number 5, I think they're just with Shinto gone. Ferrymen are the best of the worst right now.
You have gone on and on and on about how jungle is the most important role, and they have the worst jungle in the league by fucking miles.
Yeah, but they also have a very good rest of the roster. But yeah, I know. I totally agree. That jungle is important. It is the most important role. One of, if not the most important role right now. They have the worst jungle. I still think the rest of their team in team fights can make up for it, because at least this isn't a gladiator situation where Sino's not participating in team fights like Stewart. Sino's getting in there. He's forcing relics. He's making, he'll force relics. He's another body for them to shoot at. He's taking aggro from the other players, which is allowing the rest of the ferrymen to do what they need to do. Which, the way I worded that makes it sound like he's doing his job great and doing everything he should be, but he's not able to. I mean, a lot of the times it's for nothing, and it's proven because the ferrymen have won one set.
Yeah, against the Glads.
Like 1 and 3. So, yeah, I think they have good games. They've lost some 2-0, or they've lost some really close games as well. I just think a better jungler would send them over the top. If they put Kirmi, literally any other jungler, switched them out, that team is just. I think it's not a question that team is top 5.
We'll find out May 6th when they face the Hounds.
Right. Oh, that's this weekend, huh?
Yep.
I don't know why we've gone over this. Yeah, this will be the week we figure out where the ferrymen should be ranked. But yeah, I have them going 1-1. I think they're beating the Hounds, losing to Dragons.
And you have the Leviathans 6th?
Yes, Leviathans 6th. They play the Hounds and the Dragons.
Right. So the only differences in our power rankings are the Hounds and Ferrymen are switched then.
Yeah.
And you made it sound like yours was way different than mine when we were going into it.
Well, I think that's a big flop around. Well, I also have the games going much different. You have only teams either winning out or losing out. I've got Ravens 1-1, Ferrymen 1-1, Leviathans 1-1, Warriors 1-1.
I guess that's true. I did literally do that, huh?
Yeah.
I should probably pick an upset. Hold on.
Yeah, you wanna come back?
I kind of did too. Both the Hounds ones are kind of upset.
Right, that is an upset, I will say.
I don't think it is. I think the Hounds are really good.
And man, I wanted to be. I really don't have like a team. Do you have like a go-to? Like, what's your team? What team do you want to see win the whole thing?
The Warriors.
The Warriors.
All right.
Okay.
I know this isn't going to change your mind. Here are what the Hounds have done so far against SPL teams this year. They 2-0'd the Ferrymen. They lost 3-1 to the Dragons. They lost 2-1 to the Ravens. They lost 2-0 to the Warriors and 2-0 to the Kings, the two best teams in the league. And then they 2-0'd the Gladiators. They've only lost to the top 4, and the 2 times they faced other bottom 4 teams, they won.
They've won. Okay. Which my only thing about those is the games this season that they played, not including play-ins. They looked bad. I mean, they looked bad against the Kings. They looked bad against the Warriors. The Ferrymen looked good against the Warriors. They had good games against the Warriors. The Hounds just looked not good.
When they're taking games off of both the Dragons and Ravens.
They took one game off the Ravens on a botched, like Ravens are walking, four of them are walking through the jungle. That was they lost off of, or they won a game off of a Ravens misplay. I mean, nothing that had to do with them, So that's you can say that. I think some like the Ravens games, some of the ones they've won, only been off misplays of other teams. I don't know. That's gonna be that'll be our highlight game of the week is the Ferryman Hounds. Yeah. That'll
Game of the week.
But I don't know if I'm putting Hounds above Leviathans either way though. I can see, Hounds beat the Ferryman, sure, whatever. Drop the Ferryman to 7. But I think that'll bump the Leviathans up to 5. Personally.
So I just want to say another thing. In the 2 games the Ferrymen did not beat the Warriors in, they went 28-3. That is the deficit the Patriots came back by to beat the Falcons in the Super Bowl.
Exactly.
And it was such a ridiculous amount that the Falcons fans still get made fun of for it, and it has been like 8 years.
Okay, here's what I'm saying though is game 1 out the window for that. So that's 17.
Okay, so they lost 11-3.
11-3. I mean, they were also.
Also they still did it. You know what I mean?
Right. No, they definitely
They
still
still
did
let
it.
it happen.
But here's my thing. If I go and I pick like an Afro jungle game and then get shit on, yes, that's my fault. But like, can you really judge the skill of a team based on that, Is kind of what I'm looking at.
I don't know. I have faith in the Hounds. I do.
And I do too. I want to be a Hounds.
But you don't have faith in them. You just like them.
I like them. Yeah, I don't think.
You think they're going to lose?
I don't think they're gonna win. They're too new. Same with that's how the bottom 2 teams every year have been. They're the 2 new teams coming in, and like you said, before play-ins, you're like, how does this make sense? How are you ever gonna get 8 balanced teams in here when you're taking the top 6 teams? So you're taking the top 30 players and putting them on teams, and then picking the rest to put other 2 teams together. Like, how are those bottom 2 teams going to be competitive with the top 30 players?
I can't believe you're using my own words against me like this, because I definitely did say that.
You did say that, and that's how I think this is. I think they have individual talent, but when matched up against any other one of these top 6 teams, it's just not gonna come through.
None of those other play-in teams that have had problems in the past had Oath and Coast, though.
That's true. One of the play-in team. Okay, I was gonna say the play-in team a couple years ago had Vote, Nika, and Dardes, but they also that was just I don't even know. They shouldn't have been the Scarab should have been a play-in team, but the Scarabs ended up getting like 4th overall that year.
Crazy,
right? Stewart was on that team. Yeah, I think that wraps up our predictions.
Yeah. Want to talk about the
Highlight
patch
game.
that's already out by the time we're recording this?
Yeah, man.
It was
I did not
announced
realize,
after the last episode. They released this shit quick.
2 days ago, this got released, and then and yesterday it went live.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I guess something needed to be done fast. It was crit, really.
Yeah.
Crit some mages, the base mage build, some other weird shit.
2 new skins for the Hope Reborn thingy.
Yeah. I really like that Camazotz one.
I think the Medusa one's pretty fucking cool.
No, yeah.
They're both really good.
The thing is, it's in the Hope Reborn, so it's going to cost you about $1 million if you want one.
I might throw, I think it's 320 gems because it's still on sale for the second thing. I might throw 320 gems at it to try to get that Camazotz skin.
See, I haven't seen it in game though. I want to see what it looks like.
Yeah, that's fair.
But yeah, from right here it looks sick, and I'm sure it'll look. Is that an eye on his shoulder? Like his forearm?
There's also one on his. There's also one
on his wrist. That's cool. That's pretty cool.
That's cool as fuck.
I heard someone saying that this Medusa skin, her tail looks a little funky in game, but we can check that out later.
Yeah, but I want to. You know what? My parents. You know what? They don't listen to this. They tried to, and they didn't get it. I'd bang that skin.
Okay. Where? Where's the Medusa, Alex?
I'm not sure. I'd figure it out.
Okay. I like the optimism.
Yeah. You know, those are some pretty big ears. I'd stick it in there.
Wow. I'm gonna link this to your parents.
Don't you dare.
So really changes to the 3 main crit items: Deathbringer, Demon Blade, Boomerang. Decrease power in Deathbringer and Demon Blade. Increase attack speed in Demon Blade. Increase movement speed on Boomerang. And then in Venom Deathbringer, this is a nice one. Removes the slow.
Thank God.
On the pass. Right. That item is so bloated. I think that's one of the one glyphs that you can, if you can insta buy that whenever you buy Deathbringer, don't wait till the end of the build. You just upgrade that one. But now it's like, still good against Vamana though. Which if that got the shield reduction taken away, Vamana would be even better than he is now.
Yeah. Hey, let's ban carries from building what's that item called? Frozen Hammer.
Frostbound?
Yeah, let's ban carries from building Frostbound so that because the passive will be on them. Hey, let's put its passive on an item they're building in every game.
Right. Let's just give it to him. Boom. Yeah. So glad that one's gone. Crit's been needing nerfed, so this is all good and dandy.
Yes.
But then this is the item that's pissing me off, and pissing you off, and I think pissing just about everyone else off who's been building it.
It's pissing.
It's pissing on everyone. And if you haven't been pissed on yet, you will be soon. Bloodforge.
It doesn't make any sense.
Decreased power by 10 and decreased movement speed by 3%. And so here's I think
they misspelled the item name on the page. I believe it is spelled ASI.
Exactly. I mean, that's literally what this is turning into now. It's Aussie.
It is almost the same in terms of stats. And its passive is better for boxing. So what they did is they made it they're trying to make it into a carry item instead of a jungle item, but then they just made it a worse version of another item for carries already. Yeah.
Right. Like what? I think it's less power, less lifesteal, a worse passive for what it's trying to do.
Yeah.
And so like
it's a better passive on a jungler.
This item was being built. It was in a perfectly fine spot. They added attack speed to it, and that's when it got bloated. Carries are building it, and I'm assuming they're wanting this to say, hey, carries don't build this. Build one of your other 3 items that you can build in that spot. And instead of removing the attack speed, reverting it back to how it was, they're just changing.
It's a carry item.
Why
though? They're nerfing it in power, but nobody fucking knows why.
That's such a. I think it's a much better jungle item, just because the passive goes hand in hand. You want to get in, kill someone, and then you have this giant HP shield.
Right.
That's going to help you either snowball into another kill or get out.
Right.
And now you're putting this on what's that going to stop if they're getting dove? You just are invincible. But now it's not even good on them, and now it's not good on assassins either.
It was in a perfectly fine spot before they added attack speed. It wasn't
I
OP.
don't.
It was good, but it wasn't OP.
Right. No, it was good. It was like being built if your build fits it, you know? But now it became like everyone has to build it all the time.
They made a mistake and were too stubborn to revert the
Turn it back.
mistake. So they just doubled down.
This might be the most, I can't say the changes, nothing would make me very upset. But this tickles my angry bones.
Yeah. Other than this, I think other than this and what they did to Spear Magus, I think this is a pretty good patch.
No, dude. Yeah, I mean, this is totally fine. And so my problem with patches is that, oh, hello. There's a big power creep and everything. Things get buffed. And so it's good that this patch only has things getting nerfed, but then it leaves something to be desired. It's like,
Right.
okay.
Yeah, no, I was playing earlier today, and I was like, there's nothing upgraded that's new to try.
Right. There's nothing to try out anymore. It's just like, okay, now these things are worse, but what's better?
Yeah.
It's just anything that's already in the game. So I think that's one reason why that happens is because it brings in more people, keeps them interested.
Right.
Why the power creep is the
If you
thing.
want to keep going with this. We're already at like an hour 20. But I do have an idea to address this problem.
Hit me with it.
Well, that's like after we're done with the patch notes, because that's like my whole thing, my hidden
Oh, that's
topic
your
I've been
extra
having
thing?
in the back pocket.
Then maybe save that.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if you want to do it today, since we're already about an hour 20 in. Is what I'm asking.
If we're an hour 20 in, yeah, let's save it. Let's save it.
All right, teasing them for next week.
Jeez, a little tickle underneath the balls type of thing, Teasing who though, bro? Who's watching? Shout out to Hunter.
Yeah, shout out to Hunter, maybe Amy.
She said she might. Yeah,
My dad watched the first 5 minutes of our first episode.
I'm gonna send this to my grandpa. So
I should send it to my grandma. Probably not after what I said earlier. I'll send a different episode.
he has no way to watch this.
Oh. I don't think my grandma does either.
Unless you can put it on cable TV. That's where we need to go instead of YouTube. We need to just go to cable TV.
I'll send it to my boss.
There we go. Have him check it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Next, Hydras. Which that item got bloated with the cooldown and then the penetration. And so taking 5% off. I don't think that's a huge change. I mean, it's
still
kind of
cheap
decent
as
for
shit
burst.
and really good. I don't know why that's the part of it you would change.
I mean, I think it's a little tone, because I mean any assassin combo is, if you're building damage, if you're hitting your Hydra's procs or your auto cancels, you're still gonna one shot a squishy.
Right.
Yeah. And so I think it's more for right now in SPL. We're seeing a lot of hybrid builds where people are building like 2 damage items on these junglers, and they're still able to blow up squishies and full tank the rest. And so that can, tweaking little numbers like that helps kind of persuade you away.
The thing to me is that this item's job is to blow up squishies, but it has percent pin on it. So I think they should have taken that off.
Right.
Because, the thing is, right, is that also is going to help not blow up squishies as much. Because then you have to, instead of building full, you have to build another percent pin item in its place, basically. So you instead of doing another item that's focused on killing squishies because you have percent pin from this, you have to build an item that helps you kill tanks.
Yeah.
So I think that would have actually helped both problems. But instead, they just still decided that like pretty much every item in the game needs percent pin.
Yeah, and I think with their percent pin change, people do feel a little tankier. I mean, have you noticed it?
Oh, for sure. Being a tank is playable now.
Mhm.
I still think they just should have removed percent pin from a bunch of the items instead, though.
Right.
Like it was a good change. I just think they went about it the wrong way.
Yeah, I think it's a good short term.
Literally, three of
something
these
will happen.
4 items that they nerfed for mages have percent pin on them.
That is crazy.
And they weren't really being built that much before they put percent pin on them.
Right. Yeah,
I mean,
Doomworm wasn't seeing.
Yeah, Doomworm wasn't really seeing play. Tahuti
Rod
was seeing a
really
bit of
not
play.
that much.
It's been like 2 years since they had a percent pin of that. It was like in and out at the time though. Same sort of thing with Spear of the Magus.
See, for some reason, I always thought they had a cooldown on it. I think they should give it 30% cooldown. And some movement speed. Okay, yeah. Anyway, what is this? All just like power.
Yeah, they reduced
Magic
power on
power
Doomworm by
reduction.
15, power on Spear Desolation by 10. They decreased power on Tahuti by 10 and decreased its damage on the passive by 5%. And they decreased the passive debuff on Magus from 9% to 5%. Which is kind of like, why build it now?
That's less than. So it was at 7. This is like the same as the Bloodforge change, you know. It's at 7.5 passive, which is right in between 9 and 5, you know. It was at 7.5. They added percent pen to it.
And then
This
they
item
the passive.
Buff the passive.
And then they
This
over
item
nerf the passive.
Then why wouldn't you just revert it back to 7.5? Or leave it at 9 and take the percent pen off? I think, I hate to say this, but I think this item needs that percent pen instead of the flat to be bought. I think you could have that at 9 and it wouldn't be bought very often. Because even then, it's not like it was getting bought all the time right now with 9 and 10%. And so I think if you just send it back to 7.5, that keeps it in just a fine spot.
I think it gets built as a damage option on supports, maybe. Since supports can build damage right now. Helps the rest of your team out. But I don't think it's really seeing a ton of playing mage builds with that. I think you're right. But here's the thing is I don't care.
Right. Just
percent
a weird
pin needs to be something you have to go out of your way to get, to a certain extent at least. Like maybe you can get a little bit, but like you shouldn't be able to like that's 3% pin with these 3 items they just nerfed and all of them were in the meta. You know?
Yeah.
Like that shouldn't be a thing. And it still is a thing even after these nerfs.
And with a lot of casual games anyway, every game is getting late game, you know. I think I played 2 games last night and they're both like over an hour, which is ridiculous.
Insanity.
But uh-oh. Okay.
Hello?
I don't know what that means. Sorry. But yeah, so you get late game, then you buy a 500 pot, and that's 10% pen and 10% cooldown. And so you're getting an extra 10% on top of that.
I didn't even realize 500 pot had 10% pin on it.
Yeah, okay, I'm gonna have to check now. Consumables. Oh no, it does.
I think it's
Is it
3K pot that has it.
Yeah, the 3K. Okay, I'm totally wrong. Ignore what I said. 8% pen, which would have been 10. Yep.
Right.
Okay, never mind. I take that back.
Also, I kind of wish it was still 10, not because of it being like it's bad for the game, but it's a nice round number.
Right. I hate looking at that.
Yeah.
I do not like the 8 and the 16. It just feels off. But I haven't really noticed it, to be honest, because I like mentally I know what items have.
Right, you don't even like read the items at this point.
I don't have to read it, so
Same.
it hasn't itched my autism bone.
I like glance at them, you know, Like, I see it while I'm looking at the picture of the item to make sure I'm on the right one.
Like, what the hell? Okay, so 2 gods got nerfed.
Yeah.
I don't even know what to make of it. Like, I mean, good. This just feels like a weird little patch. I think the mana core needed a nerf, maybe Afro.
I mean, it's not
no.
supposed to be like a major patch. It is a bonus balance patch.
Right. But was Afro in a place where she needed to be? And I mean, like, all this was Magus in a place where it needed a bonus patch or to be in the bonus patch? Was Hydra's in a place
I mean,
where it needed
that
to be
build
in
as a whole needed to be in the bonus patch. But I see what you're saying.
Right. I just think little things needed to be tweaked. But
Yeah,
yeah.
of course, I think needed to be in the bonus patch. He's like insane right now.
Yeah, I agree with him. I don't know about Afro though.
I mean, I still think she's pretty good. I mean, she's getting play in the pro league.
Yeah, she's still like a top pick ban.
I think it's mostly like people just hate her, so they don't want her to be anywhere near the top. You know.
And I
But
get
like
that
people
because she's
aren't gonna shut the fuck up unless she's in the bottom half of the god pool. So
she's so annoying to play against, man.
exactly, that's why people aren't shutting the fuck up about it.
And I mean, personally, she's not. I haven't found her that annoying to deal with, but I can see where she would be.
Right.
I mean, she just makes people. She makes people so tanky. You know, especially when she's in support, she gives 15% procs, now 10. You know, that was one of the nerfs. And when you're at max protections, that's a lot, you know. And then a 20% damage bonus to linked down to 15. So just makes the links a little less impactful. I'm sure I will still see her. So.
Yeah.
Especially probably.
As long as she's even remotely playable, she's still going to get played because she's fun to play as, even if she's terrible to play against.
There's nothing like being an absolute gremlin and make the other team want to shoot themselves. Yeah, mana core. Do you think these changes are going to make the mana core any worse, though?
I mean,
Because
yes,
it's
any amount of worse, yes.
5% decreased movement speed on his 3 at max level, and then
easier to catch.
A 1% protection shred per stack, so decreased from 40% to 32% on his ult. I mean, do you think it's worse enough to make it mean anything?
I don't know.
You know,
probably not.
That's what I
But
feel like. A lot of
near
his
the top. He came out pretty recently.
His damage. I mean, so crit was super good, right? But his damage was so good that you bypass the entire crit. You're not like he's not a crit hunter. You're not playing mana core to build crit. He bypassed that. Go Bluestone, Transcendence. You know, your Crusher Hydras to proc things. He's doing that much damage with his abilities, making that better than crit. I think like I don't know. He's just like an AMC, but better. You know, he has movement speed like he does. He doesn't really have an escape. But the only thing that's different is instead of both of their ults shred protections, Mana Core shreds more now. Even with the nerf, Mana Core's ult is still shredding more protections than AMC's. And he gets complete CC immunity and invulnerability for 5 seconds. Like, why would you want to play AMC?
I don't know.
When you have this guy, I don't know.
I mean, you could have just stopped after our why would you want to play AMC?
I love AMC,
Fuck
man. That's
AMC.
That's one of my favorite characters.
Piss on his grave. Fuck AMC.
Why?
I just don't like him. I don't know.
I mean, what about like you don't like playing as him? You don't like playing against him?
I don't like playing against him.
Oh, why not?
Although I will say one really nice thing about playing against him is you see him in solo quite a bit, and when
Oh
he's in
yeah.
solo, that gives me an excuse to gank right lane.